Hey folks, how's it going? RedMaster here, and welcome back to another episode of Cards and Castles 2. Now today, we're going to try out something a little different. Rather than just showing another deck video, another deck showcase, if you will, we're going to be trying to bring back Cards TV. Now, if you are familiar with Cards and Castles 2, you'll know that there is not a Cards TV feature like there is in the first game. Instead, the game is broken down into lobbies, and you can end up spectating different matches that happen in lobbies, sort of a pseudo Cards TV. However, I recognize that, Cards TV was a bit more of an easier system to work with. Here, you could watch matches at any time and rewatch matches very easily. In this case, you don't really get that. Your replays happen, or the replays you get stored in your own account. They're not being, they can't really be shared. Meaning, if you miss the match, you miss the ability to get a replay. So it's a bit of an unfair-ish timing issue with replays and Cards TV. So we're gonna try and fix that with today's video, the start of a new series. I'm calling it Lobby Crashers. Basically a pseudo Cards TV in which we showcase to you some various matches that I happen to catch in some lobbies, and showcase them to you to kind of give you a breakdown of what maybe some people are running, what some game plans and gameplay things are that are happening, to kind of give you a better idea of what you might see in your own matches, so on and so forth. Again, kind of reminiscing on the Cards TV idea and bringing that more to life in Cards and Castles 2. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get to our first matchup of the day and start the debut of Lobby Crashers very strong. Alright, and so for our first matchup here, it is going to be Dr. Traffic taking on Kira here. Bit of an undead matchup here. I figured it'd only be right to showcase some of the new undead stuff in the debut episode to kind of give you guys a sense of what they're doing right now in the current pocket meta. And I would start off, pretty aggressively with an Essence of Hatred from Kira, taking card out of Traffic's hand, which is a bit rough, but it is what it is here. Open up some peasant exchanges now. I will mention that, sometimes peasant exchanges in turn 2 are going to be quite common plays. If you or your opponent really don't have anything for turn 2, which can be, often, you'll see a common peasant exchange here. So be familiar with that kind of peasant play. You might see that come up quite a few times, and we might kind of abbreviate here because it might become so common. So peasant play in the middle here for both players, and into the Dark Magician on Traffic side of things here, it looks like. And of course, Dark Magician, a very underutilized card in my opinion. I do like the idea of Dark Magician being able to generate swarms, but he is a bit weak. Remember that we found ways to make him better, though, with the Strength of Will in Rider's Will, which is still kind of a prevalent strategy. The Strength of Will recently has been reduced to a, I believe, 3 gold plus 1 health, but the same ability. So theoretically, you can make the Dark Magician a 5/5 card, which can still do some serious damage, especially that early on. But still a card to probably consider for your Necromancer decks here. And anyways, going back to the Essence of Hatred, which is going to yank this Blaze from Traffic's hand, unfortunately. Which, again, I find is a really weird choice to be including in the main deck. I just don't really... I get that it's a nice tool to yank out some annoying spells. Think of things like Yarm Lightning, Man the Cannons, etc. But it doesn't feel like it's worth using a tech slot for this. I don't think so, personally, but I don't know. We'll see if it works out for Kira in the end. As Dragon's Fire, a nice little pickup there for Traffic to replace that Blaze into the Frog Prince. A little bit of a misorder there. The Dark Magician missed out on a bit of attack power, but that's just me being nitpicky. Another peasant play from Kira here. Looks like Kira not able to do a whole lot, which is unfortunate, especially now they're getting to turn 3 and turn 4. Wizard from Traffic getting to pick up the Wraith for later usage here. And the Dark Mirror coming out from Kira. Another interesting Necromancer spell. I feel like there's a lot of these Necromancer spells getting played these days. Things like Curse of Moon and Dark Mirror, madness-inducing cards, which for those unfamiliar, madness, of course, you take away control of units from their respective players, and they can end up attacking friendly units. So you saw there the Wizard and Frog Prince do a nice little trade there to alleviate the incoming pressure for Kira here. Dark Magician going to wander a little bit backwards, just kind of, you know, not attacking either because it's only meant to attack friendly units. Burning Sun here is a nice counter to the incoming Wraith that Traffic there played, plus the Peasant here, which is very funny. Dragon's Fire coming out now, dealing some big damage though. Dragon's Fire on the Peasant feels a bit premature. I feel like there was not really a huge need for that, especially when you did have nice Tombstone setups here for the Spectral Rider. This could have been a great opportunity to hit one of these Tombstone to generate a free unit, which could of course harass the opponent's backline even further. But anyways, I mean, we'll see. Oh boy, there we go. We'll see the Dragon's Fire get played again here. It'll take out the Peasant, doing a bit of Tombstone cleanup and some big castle damage. Not really touching the supply depot, which is unfortunate, but hey, I don't think we need the cards right now anyways. Drain Life, another Necromancer spell being played there, clearing off the Magician, gaining back that 4 health, alleviating the Dragon's Fire burn to the castle. Spectral Rider finally coming out now, summoning the White Knight. Of course, Spectral Rider is getting some good usage here, and immediately gets taken off by the Drain Life. But the Spectral Rider being able to hit into weaker targets or tombstones to generate units for free is something that I think a lot of people have been taking advantage of with the Rider. He is very strong for that aspect here. And we're going to see him probably, okay, not do it again, instead hitting the Dragon Knight, which of course with the flare we see there is able to drop the Guardian power to lead the White Knight to attack the castle. Swordsman coming out though, oh boy. Nice little job here. Unfortunately, did have to hit the Spectral Rider, which spawns another Dark Magician for Traffic. I don't think Traffic minds too much. Pterodactyl coming in, taking away the Swordsman ability here. Flying Book to kind of deal with the Shadow Drake in the back here. Now, I do want to talk quickly about the Pterodactyl play here. I find it funny that Pterodactyl is a continuous option for players who want to dispel targets. Dispel is very hard to come by. I think the only inclusions of Dispel are in Crusader. Things like the Sacred Ground and Lucian, able to dispel targets. But Pterodactyl being the only neutral option to dispel things, I find is a nice little tech inclusion that a lot of people end up playing, especially based on meta scenarios here where you're running into big creatures. Remembering the days back to where Commander Crab was a problem, Pterodactyl would come in and take the ability away from the Crab, reduce him down to a 5/5, very easily compatible unit to deal with. So I still find it funny that Pterodactyl is still seeing play for those reasons. Just a good neutral dispel option. I don't really doubt his power either. He's proved to be quite valuable. Shadow Drake connecting with the castle there in before the end of days, popping out, and there is a scary pickup from Traffic, the Screams of the Fallen. Now, of course, Warlock, Necromancer, Scream decks are still running around here. They are still doing their damage. Not as much though, because a lot of decks have gotten a bit faster to where Screams of the Fallen might not be super prevalent, but it still kind of works in here and there when games are dragged out to these, you know, attrition wars. We'll see the Spectral Rider come back out here, the Dark Bargain, to clear out the Peasant there, or no, to clear the Dark Magician, excuse me. Summon the Phantom Horse here. Phantom Horse actually survives the Dragon's Fire, taking out the Supply Depot. Another Spectral Rider getting played there. Have to assume that was the pickup from the Supply Depot, probably. And for the Frog Prince, the Lava Giant in a past, or actually, nope, trading with the Reaper and then popping the Supply Depot, given the combat interactions happening. I, you know, can't forget those important pieces. Spectral Rider then moving up here, the Pterodactyl from Kira's side. Ooh, make that 2, popping both of the units here, taking away their abilities here. Again, the Dispel, quite useful indeed here. Blaze coming out, killing off a lot of the units here. The Lava Giant popping into the Horse, I believe, and the Magmasaur popping in for 5. A lot of damage, a lot of cleanup thanks to that Dragon's Fire here. Dark Mirror coming back out from Kira's side. Sure, it might do some decent things here, popping in with the Lava Giant, clearing that away here, cleaning up the Peasant. Magmasaur running all the way back, but Dr. Traffic sees his opening. Screams of the Fallen being played for turn. Genevieve though from Kira's side, producing another rider, which is fantastic, producing more bodies here. Now, again, Screams the Fallen. Your idea is to kind of keep as many bodies as possible. Wrath of the Judgment popping the Magmasaur, a bit unfortunate there. He had to lose the Peasant, especially since we might not survive the next turn with Screams of the Fallen, but he'll take his chances. Unfortunately, the chances don't work out here. Screams does take Kira, and that will be a game over. A victory for Dr. Traffic, who claims the first victory in our debut episode. Very nicely done from Traffic. Overall, a solid screen performance here. Just running the classic, red and black. Clear off your opponent's creatures, make way for Scream, drop the Scream, and hope that there's enough damage on the board there to ride you to victory. So, that being said, a solid opening matchup here, but let's go ahead and get into our second match of the day, match number 2. Alright, in game number 2, we'll see our old pal Fleischer take on T-Mello? T-Mello? Jesus, listen, you all know names aren't the strong suit in my department, so I'm going to call this homie Mello. If they want to be called something else, they let me know. Anyways, rocking in with the Pirate Druid against the Warlock Pirate. Now, this deck I was looking forward to seeing again. I've been running something similar. Essentially a Last Will focus deck. Now, if you are unaware, Fairy Queen is the newest card in Cards and Castles 2, being a part of the Battle Pass. Able to be unlocked in both the Free Pass and the Premium Path. The Premium Path unlocks Fairy Queen sooner with the Shiny variant, but all players are going to have access to this eventually. Now, it is a very fun card that is able to create a lot of smaller random fairies, and with Document Forgery and Pair, you're able to create multiple copies of those. So we see the combo right here in the hand, Forgery and Fairy, so let's see if we can pull it off here. A lot of early game stuff has been happening in this game that we've kind of missed over here, like the Flame Drake into the Peasant, seeing that trade off here. So let's just jump back in here. A lot of contraband from Mello's side as we see the bird come out now. We see the Owlbear on Fleischer's side here. Now, Owlbear, a great way to kind of get some mid-game buffs, so that way you can build up your combo. Owlbear can still gain the stat line off of holding the Last Will unit, so he's still very, very respectable for a unit inclusion here. We see the Mole get canceled out by the cancel magic. Again, Mello's contraband here is working in his favor. Kind of. Not a lot of great unit pulls coming from him, unfortunately, here. See the Blaze doing a bit of cleanup here. Actually recognizing the dangers of keeping Temple on board with the Fairy Queen. So nice elimination of those. See the Owlbear get healed up. Again, rushing in another Owlbear here. Now, aside from the Fairy Queen combo, this is, of course, a nice strategy you can perform with on the side. The pack hunting, which we saw earlier in this game, producing a lot of strong Owlbears. Those are going to come out, in droves, and of course their 8-7 bodies are not easy to deal with here. We see another Owlbear taking 8, another one getting spawned in. Mello does need a lot of help here. Final Flash coming in. Final Flash is okay. Interesting. Batojutsu, Flamestorm, Veil of the Assassin, Transcribe, a lot of traps being set now. We see these traps being played, but they don't actually activate here. That's another thing with Final Flash that you might be unaware of. With the trap aspect, they don't have a target to go on immediately, so they do get set onto your castle, which can, of course, activate under their special conditions. Into the Infestation now. A lot of cards being played here. Unfortunately, some duds. Document Forgery and Corpse Explosion being one of them. We see the Forest Revolt come out here now. Forest Revolt does a nice work, does some good work in cleaning up the Owlbears here, as you can see. And, of course, the Owlbear being left to hit the castle. We do remember, though, Batojutsu was a card, and of course that is taking out the Owlbear, meaning that the Mello has survived the Owlbear parade, if you will. Vines coming out here, avoiding that troll trap. Very nice. And, of course, the rats are going to probably push forward here. Flame Prince coming out will, of course, generate a fire spell. Blaze going to go ahead and clean up a lot more things here. The Depot and the Temple both being taken out here. Living Vine's going to go ahead and get the... Oh, well, hold on. Fairy Queen comes out, gets transcribed. Again, another trap being used here. All traps being used now from the castle. And Document Forgery, yeah, there's the combo that we were waiting for. Pretty much the ability to create multiple fairies off of this one singular spell. Plus you got the vines off on that as well. I feel like this is a very formidable strategy that may prove to be a nuisance for a time being. It is a slow combo, so you're not going to see it activate as early, and if you do have one of those early aggressive decks, you might be able to outpace this this strategy in the long run. But still, very formidable, and I'm excited to see where it goes to, because Last Will is a vastly underexplored archetype for obvious reasons. Their support is very low, but now with Fairy Queen, I think there is some more validity to the strategy. So, continuing on the matchup here, we do see the fairies interact with the board here. Now, each of them do have charge, so they are able to move immediately there and pop the rat, as you can see. Not really going ahead and hitting any buildings, though, because, of course, the charge does not hit off any buildings. Journey of Faith into the End of Days for Mellow here. Very impressive with that final flash pull. And, of course, still more going. Omaiwa, Dragon's Fire, and the Fairy Queen coming back out from Mellow's side. We do know that it was transcribed, so he has to have a copy of his own, right? Fairy's going to go ahead and make a trade here. Of course, that means more fairies for Mellow's side. Ranger coming out, though, from Fleischer. Going to go ahead and do a little bit of some funny overwhelm with one of them. Obnoxious Parrot, another great inclusion for the Last Will decks, because you can, of course, shoot out more fairies, each with their own charge aspects here. We do see a couple more overwhelm things happening with the fairies. One has Berserk as well, so we'll see this make a trade here with that 3-4. And yeah, I mean, the strategy does work. Baptism of Fire being played now to collect the parrot for himself, which honestly could be played, I think, right there. I do believe that while the Man the Cannons was effective in cleaning up things, the parrot could be used as well, and of course we could have saved the Man the Cannons for a more dire situation. But I mean, at this point, Mellow does look more so in control of the matchup here. Landshark coming out now for that 5-4 with the Berserk here was kind of just the card that... Did I say... Hold on. Did I... Okay, I neglected the fact that Landshark was here. At this point, I should not say that it's an even state. The game is officially over. The Landshark coming in at 5-4 with the Berserk here, meaning that this bad boy is just going to walk around to the castle and deal lethal damage here. Of course, that spot being undefended. So, a valiant effort from Mellow, but unfortunately, the beast part of this deck gonna creep on through with that Berserk element here. Berserk, again, still a very, very strong element of Druid decks, and we see that highly prevalent with cards like the Landshark. I think people have really been skipping over Landshark recently because of all the new things that are coming in, but don't sleep on Landshark. Landshark is still just as good as he was before any nerfs that came to him, which I think there was a nerf to him, but still. Very good card indeed. And with that being said, congratulations to Fleischer for showcasing that Fairy Queen Last Will strategy. But we do have one more matchup to get to today, so let's go ahead and waste no further time for match number 3. Alright, and game number 3, we'll see Sir Nubalot, a veteran from the C1 days, going up against Chillin with the Viking Crusader, up against Viking Necromancer. So a little bit of Viking love to end out today's episode here. Very nice to see. And we'll get right into it here. Spear of Odin, Yarm Titan, both, okay, interesting. Into the Paladin, Angel of War. Okay, so this might be more of a good stuff. Blue-yellow here from Chillin. Now, might be expected to see some of these decks more so in the early days here. I say early, we're about really 2 months or so into the game here, but some people are still picking up the game for the first time and experimenting with cards, so you're not gonna, it's not uncommon to find decks like these still out there. Noob going with the early Lich here as a response to the incoming Peasant here. Peasant, though, getting the Spear of Odin buff. The Lich gets popped here, giving a Frost spell to Noob. Now, Noob, of course, rocking a little bit of a Frost strategy here. We see that with the Hall of Frost. That is a big red flag for Frost users. That building is everything to them, and we'll see if that comes into play later on here. Barbarian with the Berserk, though, able to clean up the depot, giving Blacksmith into Chillin's hand. Unfortunately, that we got rid of the Spear so quickly. We would have had some great synergy with the Blacksmith and the Spear, a little bit of item duplication, if you will. Frost Titan coming in, hitting for 2 here, not blocking off the Frost Titan was the Paladin spawn here. We did get the Righteous Paladin, so Paladin could be used to actually clear up this Frost Titan. Unfortunately, the Barbarian does turn on the Paladin, of course, killing that very easily. And now, of course, the Berserker will pop the Dwarven Miner here for some overwhelm damage. Blacksmith coming in for some more duplication here. We throw it back to Shillen, who has a bigger unit than the Blacksmith on board here. But look, the Blacksmith will survive. Paladin, you're kind of just trading into the Blacksmith here. I guess for the incoming Cleric heal for that 2 health. Not bad, but I still felt like that we could have done a lot more. And with the Blacksmith play as well, we just kind of played it out there. I guess that we wanted the bodies, but we could have maybe saved that. And we walk right into a dark Mirror of Darkness, Dark Mirror, whatever we call it. Incoming madness for the entire board here for Shillen. He loses control of his units. That's going to be very unfortunate, as the Lich gets played as well for some extra bodies and extra threatening damage. Pardon me. Into, yep, we see the trade there. Everything kind of getting cleared up here very easily. This leads to the Angel of War from Shillen. Shillen, of course, going to get the 2 knights at the top of their deck now, which is might be useful. We don't know what's going to happen here. We'll see if Noob can deal with the Angel. Frost Blast into Shadow Strike, removing that Angel from the board completely here. Very big combo. Usually the Shadow Strikes are saved for some bigger threats here, but I guess this was deemed as a bigger threat. Making the way for Swordsman, that does clear off the Peasant and deal 4 damage to Noob's Castle. This, of course, leading to a Frost Titan onto said Swordsman here, and wish we had that Shadow Strike now, unfortunately. Faithful Drake here into the Stone Drake. Dragon Knight produces the Stone Drake into the Faithful Drake. That produces a Mithril, which we do play on the Dragon Knight. I guess we want that protection. Into another Dark Mirror, unfortunately, though, and that is going to be a bit problematic. The Dwarven Construction into the another Hall of Frost here, so quadruple damage for all the Frost targets, which you know Noob is packing quite a bit of. Some combat here, of course, cleaning things up. Unfortunately for the wrong side, that Dark Mirror doing a lot of damage. Although a second Swordsman coming in from Shillen, going to be just what we need to clean up a bit more of those threats here. The second Hall of Frost taken off of the board. Winds of North pushing everything into the second copy of Dark Mirror now. Again, a bit problematic here because the cleave is going to work against Shillen. We see there, boom. Depot, Stone Drake got taken out, castle damage being taken, and of course second Swordsman doing even more castle damage. A very unfortunate scenario for Shillen. It does get the Baptism, which takes the Frost Giant, the Frost Mage here, producing the Shattering Strike. I call him Frost Mage. I don't think his name is Frost Mage anymore. I might be mistaken on the name here. But Blacksmith coming back out here. Frost Blast going to slow down the Wizard here. Frost Strike coming back out. And we'll see if the Shadow Strike does get used here. Penguin comes out into the Frost Giant, freezing off the Ice Drake. Shadow Strike freezing the Blacksmith, giving Penguin some much-needed stat boosters. But Dark Mirror again coming in. Ice Weaver, that was his name. Want us to imagine if Noob was printing a lot of Dark Mirrors, which are very problematic if that is the case here. Printing Dark Mirrors is a bit pricey, but in a way they do get the job done, especially with all these bigger units that come out onto the board here. Winds of the North coming in from Noob once again. Frost Whirl on the castle, a nice way to kind of get everything encapsulated in that frost damage, just by giving Penguin that additional attack power. Yarm Titan into the Paladin now. Yarm Titan doing a great job at providing the guardianship because of how close it is to that castle. A second Hall of Frost, though, regardless. That is the one from his deck now at this point. And a Frost Will, Shattering Strike. It is all over. Quadruple damage, 8 from the Ice Drake, and an additional 8 from the Ice Weaver means that it's game over for Shillen. Unfortunate that we ran into quite a Frost strategy there from Noob, but interesting take on Frost, doing a bit of item duplication in there as well. We saw the Dwarven Blacksmith in there with the multiple copies of Dark Mirror. Those, of course, are very problematic to be repeating constantly. One has to imagine maybe how many were sitting in Noob's hand throughout that whole game. We might have seen more if Shillen's board was, filled with even more threats. Overall, though, a great matchup. And again, congrats to Noob for taking that W. And folks, that is going to be where we ended off today, much like in the spirit of Cards TV or the TV commentary videos. We're ending it off at 3 matches here, just so that way we don't overload you with too many matches. You don't want to be sitting through an hour video for replays in a way, kind of, unless you want to. Maybe we can talk about that. Who knows? Huh? Anyways, that is going to be where we ended off here. So folks, let's go ahead and take it to the end of the video to close this out properly. Alright, and with that being said, folks, Lobby Crashers debut episode has concluded. Let me guys know what you think. I mean, this is very similar to how I did TV commentary back in the day, but if you guys maybe have some more suggestions for editing this, kind of bringing it into a new perspective with the fact that it is a new game after all, let me know. Talk to me, and we'll see what we can do with the series here. I'm very excited to be bringing Lobby Crashers into C2, kind of re-invoking that energy, if you will. And yes, don't worry, there's more content on the way. Been traveling a lot recently, so I haven't had time to kind of sit down and properly record things. But now we're getting back into the swing of things again. So expect more content as always. Well, folks, with that being said, that is going to do it for now. Be sure to let me know how you think of the video by, again, leaving them down in the comment section below. And if you did enjoy, be sure to like, be sure to share the video, and subscribe to support the channel. Every bit helps, because of course the scary internet nowadays is very punishing for creators. But regardless, that is going to be it for me for now, folks. Until next time, stay gaming.